Imagine a world where we have mapped the oceans, cracked open ancient tombs, and built machines that can detect particles smaller than an atom, yet some of the biggest mysteries from our own past are still unsolved. These are stories that historians and scientists and archaeologists have studied for decades, but no one can fully explain. It all started with one word carved into a tree. When Governor John White returned to Roanoke Island in 1590, he expected to find more than 100 English settlers living normally. Instead, he found the entire colony empty. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just the word Protoen carved into a post. These people had built homes, farms, and defenses, yet everything they owned was left behind neatly, as if they'd calmly walked away together. White could not search long because storms damaged his ships, war with Spain prevented him from returning again, and experts suggested theories like starvation, conflict, or relocation to the nearby island, but none matched the evidence. There were no remains, no signs of violence, and no records for anyone who might have seen them. To this day, not a single confirmed artifact or body from a missing Roanoke colonist has ever been found. You know a mystery is serious when expert codebreakers, AI, and the NSA cannot crack it. The Voynich Manuscript is one of the weirdest surviving books in human history. It was discovered in 1912 by a rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich, but carbon dating revealed it was likely created in the early 1400s. The book is over 200 pages long, written in a completely unknown language and filled with illustrations of plants that do not exist, star maps that cannot be matched to any known system, and bizarre diagrams that look biological, astronomical, or symbolic depending on who you ask. The writing is too sophisticated to be random. It has structure, grammar patterns, and repeated rules that suggest a real language. Cryptographers from World War II, modern universities, and government intelligence agencies have all tried to decode it. Even top-level computers have attempted to translate it, and nothing works. Researchers cannot figure out the alphabet, the origin, or the purpose. Some believe it is a long-lost medical text from a forgotten culture. Others think it could be an elaborate hoax from the Middle Ages. The problem is that a medieval hoaxer would not need to create 200 pages of perfectly structured text. The Voynich Manuscript sits locked away at Yale University and remains one of the most unreadable books on Earth. Imagine an entire Greek city swallowed by the earth in a single night. Helike was a wealthy city on the coast of the Gulf of Corinth and was considered sacred to the god Poseidon. In the winter of 373 BC, multiple ancient writers recorded strange signs leading up to the disaster. Animals fled the region, wells dried up, the ground trembled. Then, without warning, a massive earthquake struck the city. Historical accounts claim that within minutes the entire city sank into the ground and was swallowed by the sea. Survivors from nearby villages reported hearing screams as buildings collapsed and people were pulled under the mud. When daylight came the next morning, the city had vanished. Fishermen said they could see the roofs of buildings beneath the surface of the water for years afterward, but no one knew exactly where it had gone. For centuries, people believed Helike was a legend until archaeologists rediscovered it in the early 2000s. They found roads, pottery, and the ruins of buildings buried beneath layers of sediment. What they could not explain was how an entire city had dropped so fast. Modern geologists believe a sudden liquefaction event may have caused the ground to behave like quicksand. But even that does not fully explain how it completely disappeared in one night or why ancient writers described the event in supernatural terms. Archaeologists discovered a metal scroll that reads like a treasure map, yet none of the treasure has ever been recovered. In 1952, researchers excavating near Qumran uncovered a corroded copper sheet rolled into a cylinder. When they carefully opened it, they realized it was unlike any of the other Dead Sea Scrolls. This one listed 63 distinct hiding places filled with gold and silver. It even included measurements, directions, and reference to wells, courtyards, and underground chambers. temples. The amount of treasure described is enormous. Modern estimates suggest it could be worth billions. With instructions this specific, archaeologists expected someone to find at least one of the caches. But in more than 70 years, not a single location has matched the descriptions. Scholars debate who wrote it. Some think it came from the Essenes. Others believe it recorded treasures from the Jerusalem temple before the Roman siege. The problem is the landmarks do not line up with modern geography, and parts of the scroll seem intentionally cryptic, as if the writer expected the reader to already know the secrets. So far, no trace of the treasure has ever been found. The Copper Scroll remains one of archaeology's greatest unsolved mysteries. One of the largest civilizations on Earth vanished so quietly that historians cannot even agree on why. Around 2600 BC, the Indus Valley civilization flourished across what is now Pakistan and northwest India. It had huge cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa with advanced urban planning, plumbing systems, and standardized weights. These people were incredibly organized and traded with cultures as far away as Mesopotamia. Then, around 1900 BC, the entire civilization collapsed. Cities were abandoned, writing stopped, trade networks disappeared. What makes this so mysterious is that there is no clear cause. There is no evidence of a massive war, no signs of widespread disease, no giant natural disaster that could wipe out millions of people across such a vast region. Some theories suggest climate change caused the rivers to shift. Others believe a long drought slowly weakened the population, but none of it explains how such a complex and advanced culture faded away so completely that even their written language remains undeciphered today. For more than 2,000 years, there have been rumors of a secret society created to protect forbidden knowledge. The story begins with Emperor Ashoka of India, who ruled in the 3rd century BC. After a brutal war that killed over 100,000 people, he supposedly vowed never to allow destructive knowledge fall into the wrong hands again. According to the legend, he formed a group known as the 9 Unknown Men. Each member was said to be responsible for guarding a book of powerful knowledge. These books supposedly covered everything from biology to time manipulation. The strange part is that references to this secret society appear across multiple centuries and in multiple cultures. French writers in the 1800s claimed the group still existed. Indian scholars in the mid-20th century claimed the society influenced scientific breakthroughs from the shadows. No convincing evidence has ever been produced, but the rumor never goes away. Historians argue that the story might be fiction. However, the idea persists because Ashoka did issue real edicts about controlling dangerous knowledge after the war. Whether the 9 unknown men were real or not, no one knows. The mystery remains alive because there has never been a definitive explanation. It is a clay disc that experts have studied for more than 100 years, and no one can figure out what it says. The Phaistos disc was found in 1908 in the ruins of a Minoan palace on Crete. It dates back to around 1700 BC and is covered in mysterious symbols arranged in a spiral. There are 45 unique characters, and many repeat in patterns that clearly show this is a real language. The problem is that the writing system does not match any known script from the ancient world. It is not Egyptian, it is not Sumerian, not Linear A or Linear B, which were the writing systems of the region. It is completely unique. Researchers cannot even confirm what direction it is supposed to read. Because the disc is the only example of this writing system ever found, there's also no other material to compare it to. That leaves the meaning of the text completely unknown. Some people think it might be a prayer, others believe it documents rules or rituals, but no one can decode it. This remains one of the most mysterious pieces of writing ever discovered. When explorers found hundreds of ancient pipes inside a mountain, scientists struggled to explain how they got there. Near the Qinghai Plateau in China sits a mountain with 3 enormous triangular openings. Inside these caverns, explorers discovered a network of pipe-like structures made of iron that appear to run deep into the mountain. Some of the pipes extended all the way to a nearby lake. When tested, many were confirmed to be around 5,000 years old. How were ancient people building complex iron pipe systems at a time when metalworking in that region region was extremely primitive. This was not a civilization known for advanced engineering. Some researchers suggested that the pipes were naturally formed through a geological process called fossilized tree rooting. Others pointed out that the pipes were too uniform and organized to be natural. The Chinese government investigated the site several times. Each time they concluded that the formation was interesting but not easily classified. To this day, no one can explain why there are organized pipe structures inside a remote mountain or what purpose they served. When divers discovered a strange corroded wheel in a shipwreck, they had no idea that it would rewrite history. In 1901, sponge divers exploring a wreck off the coast of the Greek island Antikythera pulled up a chunk of bronze gears fused together. At first, archaeologists thought it was nothing more than broken debris, but later they realized it was a mechanical computer built more than 2,000 years ago. Today, the Antikythera mechanism is known as the oldest known complex analog computer on the planet. It could track planetary movements, predict lunar cycles, track eclipses, and even map Olympic Games. What makes this so confusing is that the level of engineering it required would not appear again until the 1400s with the Renaissance clockmakers. Experts call it the most advanced artifact from the ancient world, and no one understands how a machine like this existed centuries before anything comparable. There are no other examples of this level of technology from that era. Archaeologists found a huge ancient fortress in Afghanistan that looked like everyone inside vanished at the exact same time. In the early 1990s, researchers uncovered a Sogdian fortress near Rabatak dating back almost 2,000 years. The site was large, well built, and clearly home to many people. But inside, everything looked frozen in place. Storage rooms were still packed with grain, tools were left mid-use, pottery sat neatly on shelves. Yet the entire population was gone. There were no signs of invasion, fire, disease, or rushed evacuation. No bodies, no damage, just an empty fortress that should never have been forgotten. A royal inscription linked the site to Kanishka the Great, one of the most powerful rulers of the region, making its disappearance even more confusing. Because excavations stopped early due to conflict, no one knows why the settlement was abandoned or where its people went. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!